Well, hello, EKN Nation. A new edition of the EKN OutLap as it is now October the 11th, 2021. This is episode 28 of our preview podcast, the OutLap, where we have a look at the upcoming event as part of the EKN Trackside Live presented by Cooper Tires program. We'll preview the race. We'll go through the drivers that are going to be in the event. As always, we'll look at the point standings and maybe any special stories that surround the event. Of course, the one we're talking about today, the finale of the United States Pro Kart Series, the Carolina Grand Prix down in Mooresville at GoPro. We'll jump into that momentarily. Again, my name's Rob Howden, joined by David Cole. And let's talk about first our presenting sponsor of today's show, the Alan Rudolph Racing Academy. If you want to improve your results, it's time for professional instruction and coaching at the Alan Rudolph Racing Academy. Located at the state-of-the-art Speed Sports Racing Park just north of Houston, the Alan Rudolph Racing Academy offers custom coaching programs for newcomers and experienced racers alike. Train with a champion with over 30 years of experience to get proven results. Get ready for the big races by training with the best. Reserve your dates now by calling 866-607-RACE. That's 866-607-7223. David Cole once again joining us from the HMG EKN studios in Grand Rapids, Michigan. David, closing in. Last couple of races of the year, the United States Pro Kart Series is going to wrap things up here at the Carolina Grand Prix. The event this coming weekend, October 15th, 16th, and 17th at GoPro Motorplex in Mooresville, North Carolina. Round 7 and 8 of this 8-round program, counting the best of 7 as usual. David, GoPro, it's always a place that the USPKS can roll in and know that they're not only going to get the big dogs that they have at all the events throughout the season, you know, drivers coming in from around the country, but you're also likely going to get a good little influx of club racers, local racers as well. That's what makes the GoPro races always so good.
It does. It's a hotbed for racing. It really is. I mean, Race City, USA is what Mooresville, North Carolina is known as, and it does. But a lot of the local racers are top level national racers. So
that's right.
It's almost becoming the breeding ground. It's for a lot of the national talent that we do have, and international talent, including drivers such as Connor Zillage, who is an international champion, and Brent Cruz, another international champion. He's not going to be at the USPKS event, but it's certainly become a hotbed for karting. And again, it is just a motorsports capital almost of the United States, next to, you know, Indianapolis and Daytona. It's really sprouted to be just an amazing place to be around and be at. And GoPro Motorplex is certainly among the top facilities that we do have in the country, if not North America.
Yeah, David, you look at some of the racetracks that have become kind of hubs of their area, right? You think about Southern California right now and the lack of other tracks, lack of clubs. It's all about Cal Speed. Everything happens at Cal Speed, right? And then, of course, Texas, a lot of stuff happens, whether Denton or in Houston, right? At Speed Sports Racing Park now, a new facility that's really helped inject a lot of excitement into Texas karting. But the bottom line is, when we talk about sprint karting kind of in that North Carolina area, it is all about GoPro Motorplex. And that's what, like you said, so many of the top national drivers spend a lot of time there. They're either from the area or they kind of base out of the track as well. So I think that's what's going to make things so exciting. David, they're going to run the 7/10 mile layout, clockwise direction. Talk about the fact that the track was built just about 10 years ago, 9 years ago now. So it has been part of the foundation of karting for the last decade. But going back, Dave, this is where it all started, right? For the USPKS back in 2013.
Yeah, October 2012 was when it was finalized. And in April of 2013 is when the inaugural USPKS event took place at what was then Mooresville Motorplex.
That's it. Yeah.
And is now the GoPro Motorplex. It's been the home of the series. It was the series event was one of the first major events. The actual scoring tower was built that Thursday, finished off. I don't even think had the siding on it.
Wow.
Just enough for myself to go in and then the scorekeeper, her name's blanking me right now, but also Randy Kugler, who was the series announcer back then. So That's awesome. It was a unique time, this brand new facility, brand new series. it was a rainy weekend. I can remember that. So so I can't do the math right now. 9 years.
9 years.
Since the track, because it was October. So it's a 9-year anniversary of the track being opened up. So it's a special weekend because not only are we crowning all the USPKS champions for the 8th season, but also an anniversary weekend for the actual GoPro Motorplex.
Yeah, it's been a place that the USPKS has gone to every year since its debut back in 2013. So obviously a series or a location that has become just as much a part of the series as anything else. David, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday schedule, optional practice for about 6 hours on Thursday afternoon and into the early evening. And then, of course, practice rolling with 5 rounds on Friday.
Yeah, weather right now is looking pretty good for Friday. Should be in the 80s. Saturday should be the same thing when we get into round 7. That'll be a warm-up, qualifying, pre-final, finals. We're looking at possible LCQs for KA Senior. We'll talk a little bit about that when we get into the numbers kind of thing. Possibility of rain later into Saturday. So we'll see if we can get everything wrapped up before the rain is forecasted to come later that day. Sunday, the temperatures drop down to the low 70s, so a little bit cooler as we decide the championships on Sunday with round 8. Again, warm-up, qualifying, pre-final, and finals. And again, we don't have the number of laps that they're going to use yet. So we'll hopefully get that when we get trackside and get a more detailed schedule for the weekend.
Well, obviously fantastic weather, even with a little bit of potential rain coming in. It's just the nice temperatures here for the fall, a mid-October event. Again, this is the final round of the USPKS, October 15th, 16th, 17th. This is the EKN OutLap, episode 28. We'll preview everything and really get into it after this break. We'll start with By the Numbers, let you know how many drivers or entries have been logged thus far, still going into the event, a couple days away, and we'll go through class by class as well. Stay with us. More to come here on the EKN Radio Network. The Briggs & Stratton 206 engine is where out-of-the-box ease and outstanding consistency meet to create legendary races. Briggs & Stratton's history of motorsports dates back to when the first engines came off the assembly line in the early 1900s. Their focus on the grassroots level continues to help build generations of racers. Since 2008, the Briggs & Stratton 206 has gained a following that has the engine powering the largest fields in North American karting today. From the club level track programs to traveling regional series and national events, Briggs & Stratton competition provides the most exciting racing in the sport. Engineered and hand-built exclusively for racing, every Briggs & Stratton 206 engine is power tested and serialized before it goes in the box. Karters can take that engine straight from the box to their kart and be on the podium at the end of race day. Be sure to follow Briggs & Stratton Racing on Facebook and through @RaceBriggs on Instagram. To learn more about the 206 engine or to find the North American dealer near you, head to BriggsRacing.com. Briggs & Stratton Racing. What powers you? Powered by technology, DID racing chains have a worldwide reputation for superior quality and reliability. Meticulously engineered and manufactured in Japan, DID Genuine Parts are the world's #1 original parts supplier for Japanese and European motorcycle manufacturers. A rich racing tradition where results speak for themselves, DID prides itself on engineering the most technologically advanced chains on the market to help you excel on and off the track. DID's SDH pin treatment creates an extremely hard chromium carbide layer on the pin surface that houses a soft inner core to absorb extreme shock loads. DID's 219 HTZ racing chain boasts this SDH pin technology, which leads to longer chain life as well as excellent energy transmission to the wheels. Available in the gorgeous gold, the 219 HTZ is the ultimate racing kart chain. Pick up a DID chain at your local dealer today, because when winning is the only thing that matters, go with DID. Welcome back to another edition of the EKN OutLap here on the EKN Radio Network. My name is Rob Howden, joined by our managing editor, David Cole, who will be trackside this weekend in Mooresville, North Carolina for the final round of the U.S. PKS Series for 2021. David, it's just been a pretty amazing year in terms of numbers for the U.S. PKS. And I think that, with all the things that happened with the COVID 19 hiatus back in 2021, where we had some events not happening. Series were able to finally get things locked in, which was great. This has been just a tremendous season for the USPKS. So almost every event of the year, I think, every event of the year so far, over 250 entries. We're coming in with 250 pre-entries right now. So all 7, it's done, David. Every event's going to be over 250 entries. That's massive for this USPKS. And really, I think big for East Coast karting as well to have this successful and strong of a national series.
Well, you say East Coast karting. I mean, it is a national series with the number of teams that we're getting coming over from Texas, from California, from Pacific Northwest. Yeah. I mean, we're getting teams from all different corners of the country, central, west, east, south, north, everywhere. It really has become, it is based in the East Coast when you look at the tracks that they do attend. So it does have that base on the eastern side of the country. But when you look at the numbers in terms of, the teams and drivers, it truly is a national program. And as you mentioned, all 4 events this year are going to be over the 250 mark. I'm going to guess that we'll get enough walk-ups to possibly break the Road America total, which was at 254, and that's the 3rd highest ever in series history. Again, going back to Ocala with 293 earlier this year as the top event of the series top event in series history, with Newcastle back in the early part of the summer with 270 being number 2. So this could be possibly the 3rd highest event ever in USPKS history.
Yeah, pretty impressive stuff for the USPKS. Let's have a look at the numbers a little bit too, just kind of going through the categories. That's one of the things about the USPKS as well. We're not talking about 10, 11, 12 categories in the lineup either. We're looking at 7 classes. That's it. The micro and mini, and then right up through X30 and KA100 with the junior, pro, and masters categories of X30, and then KA100 junior and senior. A nice tight schedule, a nice tight class structure rather. And David, you and I always look at the micro and mini, right? If you've got good strength in those cadet classes, you're eventually going to grow into some good numbers in X30 junior and KA100 junior, which is awesome. A bump up actually from last year in micro, significant bump, 8 more drivers, 31 in total in micro, 34 in mini Swift. And I always like getting over that 30 mark. For me, in my mind, that 30 mark is kind of a full field. But when you start getting 31, 32 up to 34, it really starts looking really strong, I think.
Yeah, if we look at the numbers all season long, that's what we've seen with the mini and micros. That's been kind of the highlight with the USPKS, because that's the future. That's where we're going to see a lot of the future top junior drivers and future top senior drivers as well too. Because micro and mini, they've across the board, they've been above the 30 mark all season long. Mini's highest was 41 at Ocala, with 39 at Ocala for micro. So again, it's to be above 30 across the board is pretty solid for the 2 youngest categories.
Yeah, in junior, we said 32 entries in junior. One of the other great things about this particular program is in USPKS is a really strong senior group. It hasn't fallen off at all. In fact, the senior categories are the 2 largest categories on the weekend, with X30 Pro at 45 and KA100 Senior at 49. David, I think the KA100 Senior move continues to be big. It's so many drivers potentially running just KA100 Senior. Maybe you don't want to do that X30 program, but still 45 in Pro and 49 in Senior.
And 45 is the cap. They actually put a cap on all the categories for this weekend. So we could have possibly had more in X30 Pro, but they capped every category except KA100 Senior, which they opened up to allow more drivers in, because that's been obviously the largest category throughout the season. We've seen numbers of 60 at Ocala, 60 at Newcastle, and 50 at Road America. And I'm going to guess that that's going to be the category where you see more of the walk-ups.
Yeah.
And as you said, more of the locals kind of register, late and again, walk up on Thursday. So I expect that to get above that 50 mark. And again, we're going to talk about that. They're splitting that category up for the pre-finals with the possibility of having LCQ. So that's still kind of the schedule shows an LCQ, but if depending on the numbers, I'm wondering if they're going to, if we're capping categories at 45, if they really are going to send 4 or 5 people home. We'll see what they decide. That could be an update, say Friday morning, when they get final numbers in. So that'll be an ongoing story that we'll kind of follow as we begin our coverage Friday morning.
So there you have it. That's the kind of by the numbers look, 250 entries, pre-entries. David thinking maybe I could get above the 254 to make this event the third largest USPKS event, and really all those events really coming here in this 2021 season. And as David mentioned, this program really it's an East Coast-based national series. That's how big it's become. Major teams, major drivers, and obviously incredible competition week in and week out every time we have one of these events. It's time to jump into the actual preview. We're going to hit a couple of these classes and start working our way through. After this break, we'll start with the senior guys, X30 Pro and KA100 Senior. We'll do the preview as this edition of the OutLap continuing here on the EKN Radio Network. If the dream is IndyCar, set your target on the Road to Indy presented by Cooper Tires. Our ladder system is designed to take drivers through 3 runs of competition. The first step is the Cooper Tires USF 2000 Championship, which features a carbon tub Tatis chassis, 180 horsepower, and a paddle shift sequential gearbox. Boost the USF 2000's output to 250 horsepower for the Indy Pro 2000 program, the second rung on the road to Indy. Add in increased grip and more aero downforce, and the Tatis PM18 becomes an incredible training machine. The final step before IndyCar is the Indy Lights Championship presented by Cooper Tires. The Dallara IL-15 boasts a whopping 450 horsepower. This car itself has trained so many drivers in the IndyCar series. At all 3 levels, you race at premier venues on the same dance card as IndyCar. Showcase your skills under the watchful eyes of IndyCar scouts and owners. The program is unprecedented around the world, offering the opportunity to climb the ladder with over $2 million in scholarships to the champions in USF 2000, Indy Pro 2000, and Indy Lights. Former Karters fill the roster of Road to Indy graduates in IndyCar, like Joseph Newgarden, Pato O'Ward, Connor Daly, Jack Harvey, Felix Rosenquist, Colton Herta, Ed Jones, Charlie Kimball, Dalton Kellett, and Renus VK. Follow in their footsteps. If you want to race IndyCar, there is only one choice. The Road to Indy, presented by Cooper Tires. Leading Edge Motorsports is the industry answer to winning in karting. At the helm is industry veteran Greg Bell, who has orchestrated the success of many drivers dating back to the mid-1990s. Based in Lodi, California, Leading Edge Motorsports is the Western importer with IP karting that includes the Praga and Formula K chassis brands. Leading Edge Motorsports provides in-depth driver development for those racers in Northern California and across the country. Arrive and drive services, kart preparation, and driver coaching are available under the LEM tent throughout the season. Bell's record of working with drivers includes recent victories at North America's biggest karting events, including the Rock the Rio and the SCUSA Super Nationals. Greg Bell's knowledge for building engines spans 2 decades and is now under the Mega Power branding, providing a reliable engine service and tuning knowledge. No matter the chassis brand, choose Mega Power to get to the front. Click over to leadingedgemotorsports.com for more and find them on social media to stay connected. At Leading Edge Motorsports, winning never gets old. Welcome back to the show. Rob Howden alongside David Cole as we preview this weekend's coming USPKS finale from the GoPro Motorplex in Mooresville, North Carolina. 45 pre-entries in the X30 Pro category. David, when you talk USPKS, you talk X30 Pro, the name that always comes, it has to be first in the sentence regardless of what happens. 4-time consecutive champion. Brandon Jarsakrak, 17, 18, 19, and 20, the champion of this unbelievable category. But this year is not yet won. Arias Tukmedjian, Connor Zilic, and Ryan Norberg, drivers that have tasted victory so far in X30 Pro. The points, Norberg coming in with a nice 41 point advantage over Zilic. Jarsakrak back in third.
Yeah, 380 points is a deficit right now going into the final two rounds. Still not mathematically out of it. Again, going to need a lot of help over the weekend. Yeah. He's going to be gunning for victories. That's going to be his key because that's what he's going to have to do. And then obviously needs a lot of help, with Norberg and Zilic able to pull off 2 wins for Zilic and 3 wins for Norberg. That's essentially set them apart from everybody else in the title chase. Especially with Jarsakrak there trailing by so much. So again, not out of it, but we've seen this, Norberg knows all about it, trying to get that 5th one. It's not something that comes by easy. And and again, even Jarsakrak's championships over the last 4 years, a couple of them came down to the wire to where they weren't that easy. So yeah, you can expect that, depending on where he ends up in the championship chase, how the price package gets laid out, you might see Jarsakrak coming back to try and get one for the thumb next year.
That's it. One for the thumb. I always like that. David, some notes. We'll kind of scroll through the spreadsheet, looking at some of the names, some of the notes that you've got down here already. An interesting move. Hayden Jones making the move from Nitro over to Rawlson Performance Group to do double duty this weekend. Yeah,
announced that recently on social media. One of the nominees for the Mazda Spec MX-5 shootout. He's moved over to Rawlson Performance Group. They were there all this past week getting in some good testing. So you got to expect the RPG crew to be quick. And then Jones racing at his home racetrack. But again, not really moving equipment, just moving teams.
Yeah.
Always was on the OTK product under the Nitro Kart tent. So he's just moving over to a different team. And again, still going to pull off the double duty racing in the X30 Pro and KA100 senior divisions.
One of the things we see year in and year out, David, late in the season, maybe drivers in the junior category not in championship contention. They're getting age eligible to move themselves up to seniors, and we're going to see a couple drivers do that this weekend at Mooresville. Talk about the junior drivers making the jump up to sample senior racing for the first time.
Yeah, Jack Jeffers being one of them, the Texas driver we've seen to be among the top junior drivers throughout the season. He's going to make that jump up to the senior ranks this weekend, along with, I'm sorry, I had to switch pages there. Paul Bukos. Paul has been, again, victories in the junior category, wasn't at Road America. Not quite sure what the reasoning was for, but so since he's not in the junior championship chase, going to make that move up to the senior ranks.
So IndyCar wrapping up their season most recently at Long Beach. Alex Palou, the Spaniard, winning the championship. We've got a couple IndyCar drivers who are not done racing yet, which I think is super cool. We know one of them spends a lot of time at the track at GoPro, and I'm talking about Will Power. Of course, the Will Power Kart program, he and Billy Vincent, who is the director of the technical side at Aero McLaren SP. Billy runs, and with his brother, runs the Will Power Kart program, the WPK program. So Will's going to come out and run X30 Pro, not Masters. He's going to run Pro, which I think is awesome. And you wonder how much digging and pushing Will Power had to do to get Joseph Newgarden out to come run this weekend. You and I watched Joseph, of course, run back in the day up at Newcastle Motorsports Park when he was in karting before moving to cars. But good to see Joseph come out and have some fun as well.
Yeah, as you said, Will Power's got a lot of laps around GoPro Motorplex, got the Will Power kart that they'll be running. And that's kind of be the weird situation is watching Joseph Newgarden driving a Will Power kart. That's going to be,
yeah.
Because we've seen him run the OTK product before. We've seen him run Arrows back in the day, but seeing him, that's kind of like, a different one of the, like, Lando Norris driving a Ricardo kart or something like that.
I was going to say, I don't think we'll ever see Lewis Hamilton drive a Lando Norris kart.
No, yeah. So that's going to be the interesting part of it. Newgarden does have time in the kart. He occasionally gets out to the kart track and does laps. So, but I don't think he has the amount of laps that Power does.
No.
And I'm trying to look back and see. I'm trying to get some notes here on Newgarden. I don't think he's ever raced at GoPro either. So, that's going to be another situation too. Because he was out of karting before this track was even built. So,
late 2000s.
So he's gonna, have to learn the track. Again, it's not a very technical track, so I expect him to get it pretty quickly. He was pretty good in his karting days of learning new tracks, but there's probably going to be some rival, little friendly wagers and stuff like that going between the two of them. But it's a competitive X30 Pro field. That's one thing both these drivers are going to have to kind of get to come to grips with really quick.
I'm hoping there's some trash talk between the two of them. That's all I'm hoping for.
I would assume so.
Serious trash. And I want to know how many other Penske drivers roll out. Like, what's Scott McLaughlin doing? Why couldn't they get McLaughlin to run? I know he's been on the track out there with Will. We need Scott back out there. I know that Austin Cindric is still a little busy. He's got some work to do this year to cap things off before he moves up to the Cup Series next year. But I know a lot of the guys from Penske get out there and have some fun, which I think is super cool.
Well, yeah, you can believe that a lot of the NASCAR drivers, I'm not quite, let me see where they're at, but I'm sure they're going to be out there Friday, catching the action just to see what's going on, especially. And then a lot of the mechanics, that are with Penske Racing, who's actually going to be on Joseph's cart? Who's going to be wrenching for Will? Is Billy going to step back and kind of be like team manager guy and not focus on one or the two drivers? Or, because again, Billy works for Arrow McLaren. Mm-hmm. But is associated with Will Power and the Will Power Kart and MPG Motorsports. So that's going to be a fun little. It'll be fun to kind of go in the tent once in a while and see what's going on there.
David, let's throw some other names out here right now, just for those who are tuning into this edition of the OutLap podcast as we talk about the final round of the USPKS series, the event, the Carolina Grand Prix at GoPro. You throw names like Thomas Annunziata, right, out into it. Nate Cicero's been super strong. We'll see Alessandro Tullio come back again with Peril in USA. Another name I saw for a guy that hasn't done a lot of karting, but I've seen him throughout the season running in the USF 2000 program is Thomas Nepfu from Quebec. He's going to be out there racing again this weekend. So I would assume potentially under the Trinity Karting Group tent like he did at SCUSA. So good to see Nepfu back out there too.
Yeah, he came to grips with the Kart Republic really quick. I would assume he's under the same tent with the same chassis as well. And, we didn't get the chassis information, so we only know that he is working with Coy once again, and we're assuming that they'll be there. Also, Superkarts USA Pro Tour champion Hannah Greenmeyer going to be there, so it'll be her first race as a national champion. So we'll see how she adapts to having more of the spotlight on her throughout the weekend. Yeah, and just, Paulie Massimino, local track, so he's going to be quick, both racing KA X30 Pro and KA 100 Senior. A lot of different drivers that are going to be. Nicholas Terlecki, he was my data guy and driver coach at the CKNA Grand Nationals.
Nice.
Got to work with him. He kept telling me to get quicker.
I'm thinking Ryan Perry Motorsports as well with Paulie Massimino and Dante Yu. Those are a couple of guys that can win anytime they roll off the trailer as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Dante Yu. Yeah, he's always quick. Weston Workman, another driver from GoPro Motorplex, that should be quick as well too. So Brandon Tyner just came up short in the SCUSA Pro Tour Championship under their RPG tent. So RPG tent is loaded with a number of different drivers.
No doubt.
Ryan Perry Motorsport as well. Mike Doty Racing with a number of drivers, including Charles Crack. Just a lot of different drivers that could be in the hunt. And we really haven't talked much about Connor Zillage as well too.
Yeah, right. He is second in points coming in with an opportunity to win the championship still. He's only 41 points back, as we know. So, yeah, Connor Zillage, again, another track where he really excels. So, you got to think this championship is going to be so much fun to watch. I literally have nothing going on this weekend. I took last weekend off. I'm taking this weekend off. I can't wait. I'm going to tune into the broadcast to find out what's happening down there. I look forward to seeing how things dial in. The main events, if it comes down to Sunday for the championships, man, the level of pressure for these drivers is going to be high. I love that.
Well, and the unfortunate part of it is only two drivers. So everybody else is out there gunning for victories.
That's true.
It's going to be, we've already talked to Norberg in one of our face-to-face, he drives to, he focuses on championships, he says, a little bit more than he does on positions on the racetrack, just making sure he's in the right spot where he needs to be in order to help himself in the championship. How is that going to change this weekend? He has a number of different teammates. Zilic is out there essentially on his own. No teammates this weekend under the Nitro Kart tent. But again, it's his racetrack. He knows how to drive around that place.
Yeah, so that's true.
And then you throw in 43 other drivers into the mix. It's just going to be a very interesting race weekend.
Well, and it's many of the same names as David now jumped now into the KA 100 senior class, 49 entries in total. And you're still talking about a Connor Zilic. He comes in with a pretty good lead right now over Brandon Lemke. Of course, Lemke champion back in 2020. Former champs include as well Blake Hunt, Zach Hollingshead, Alex Bertignoli. But Zilic, you say he knows this racetrack. David, he comes into the KA 100 senior races this weekend, having won 3 times already on the season, 197-point lead over Lemke with that single victory. So Zilic, really an opportunity to win 2 championships here. He's a little further back, obviously 41 back in X30 Pro, but he's 197 up in KA 100 senior. All in all, Zilic could walk away with a really big weekend here.
Yeah, he's going to be the benchmark, I think, in this category for sure. I mean, as you said, 197-point lead going into the weekend over Lemke with 3 victories already in his pocket. So even if Lemke is able to pull off the double win weekend, he has a tiebreak where they'll tie in victories. But again, I think it's going to be a tough haul for Lemke to make up that ground. So Zilic really is just going to probably kind of pace himself or just get away from everybody. It's going to be one or the other. But it's really hard to do that in this KA 100 category. 49 drivers entered and a number of different drivers that could be in contention all weekend long.
Yeah, let's just throw some of those names out, right? Let's start with just the other winners on the season, Alex Bertignoli and Arias Dukmedjian. Dukmedjian coming in 5th in points. AJ Myers in 4th, and Hayden Jones in 5th in points coming in, David. You got to think that both those guys have a shot at the race win. Hayden Jones jumping teams, as we had talked about. Same OTK product, like you said. So it's not like it's going to be a different feel, but Rawlson could potentially approach things differently. Maybe the setup's a bit different. Jones with a fresher flavor and a new color rolling in this weekend.
Yeah, Jones coming in, as you said, a new place, a new home. So that's going to throw a little bit in. And Myers has been actually using GoPro Motorplex as kind of his home track now that he's based kind of in Mooresville, North Carolina. So they've kind of developed this magic cart for the K 100 category at GoPro. So you could expect him to see up front. Unfortunately, Bertignoli and Dukmedjian not going to be competing
not on the docket. What the hell's that all about?
I think Dukmedjian has some car stuff that he's doing.
Maybe
while Bertignoli is in school. So racing has been kind of limited. He just was able to pull off a victory earlier this season.
There you go.
But you got to expect Jones and Myers to be in the hunt. And again, fighting for 3rd and 4th in the championship, but in the hunt for victories on the weekend.
So I had mentioned Thomas Annunziata in the pro class. We did the same thing for Paulie Massimino. We expect those guys to be in the fight for this one as well. You bring other drivers, David, that maybe that focus a little more on the KA 100, like a Brandon Lemke, as we mentioned. Another driver that focuses solely on KA 100 would be Austin Osborne. Here's a guy that could run up front. Josh Holtz, I think, will be a guy in the fight as well. I know that in your notes here, and I picked this up myself too, Mike McAndrews coming back with Fullerton USA.
Yeah, Mike McAndrews is a longtime 100cc driver back with the Yamahas and making his 2021 debut at USPKS, going to GoPro with the home of the Fullerton USA shop out there in Mooresville, North Carolina. So kind of a home, but a home away from home for McAndrews. We'll see if he's able to kind of pick up where he left off in years past, being up front in the 100cc category. You mentioned Osborne. That's another one to watch. Telecki, I've already mentioned him as well. Tyler Wettengel, home track, Mooresville, very quick in the 100cc category since he moved over with Trinity Karting Group on the Kart Republic.
Yeah. So you throw Gavin Bailiff in there too. A couple of kids, with Wettengel there and Bailiff at Trinity Karting Group. If they get things dialed in, where they're happy with the setup on that thing, I think both those guys could be running up front as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We actually do have some Canadians coming down.
I saw that.
I think we've had some Canadians coming down. Daniel and Adam Alley from Toronto, Canada, your home Providence, your home city.
Province.
And, Toronto's the city.
You said Providence. It's not Providence, Rhode Island. It's Province.
I know. I messed that up.
I
mess up a lot of things, Rob.
It's okay, David.
Are you trying to driver coach me like Trelecky?
Well, obviously it didn't work for Nicholas, so it's not going to work for me either.
He didn't change the tires. I should have changed the tires. So.
But good to have both Daniel and Adam Alley coming down. Adam, the 2021 Rotax Senior Canadian National Champion. So the guy's got some pace. It'll be interesting. I don't know that they've ever been down there before. I don't remember seeing their name on a result sheet from GoPro. So man, you got to expect they're really going to focus on Thursday, right, David, to get dialed in, because you said the tracks, it's not super tough, super overly technical, but man, the level of competition so high with guys with so many laps there, they'll be starting on the back foot for sure.
Well, luckily they're double Dewey. They're doing the both X30 Pro and K100 Senior, so that'll help in terms of track time. But and I believe they're going to be working with Kevin Monteith. I'm not sure on that. I know I talked with our Canadian sources up there, and they said that they've been working with Monteith all throughout the season. So I expect Monteith knows how to get around GoPro. He's worked with a number of different drivers there throughout the years, so they have that knowledge to kind of help them get off the right foot.
A couple more names. I know that you had one of the notes. You mentioned Brooke Nachman as well. She's always fast at GoPro, and I would agree with that. Another I think I would focus on as well, probably Connor Ferris. Connor's had a pretty good season in terms of pace. You mentioned Terlecki already. So just a couple other drivers. You know, anytime you roll into a track like GoPro, that local knowledge is important. Man, how many races have we seen where somebody local steps up and shocks you and puts it on the pole or somewhere in the front of the grid, right? I think drivers like Ferris and Nachman could be. I know Ferris isn't local, but Nachman most definitely could be a driver you're going to be talking about.
Yeah, she had some hand surgery, so she hasn't been in the seat for very long or for very much this season.
Okay,
but she's gotten that recovery done and over with, and so she's gotten back into the seat a little bit here and there. Nice. But yeah, again, home track knowledge is very key. We see that Newcastle, we see that other facilities throughout the country, and GoPro is no different.
49 pre-entries. David thinking potentially 50 plus. Of course, pre-entries opening, trackside entries. Opening up on Thursday. So David, once he gets there, will give us an update on how things go on Friday. But otherwise, KA100 Senior and X30 Pro expecting to be some epic racing to cap off this year's USPKS season. When we come back after this break, we'll go junior. It'll be X30 Junior, KA100 Junior, and we'll go the other end of the spectrum as well, as we'll grab a preview of the X30 Masters driver. Stay with us. More to come here on the EKN Radio Network. If you're searching for a program to elevate you in the motorsports ladder, Crosslink Competition is your next step. Crosslink Competition provides arrive and drive programs that include driver coaching, data analysis, and an engine rental program for all major events in the 2021 season. Team Crosslink is scheduled to compete at the SuperKarts USA Pro Tour, Rock Cup USA, and United States Pro Kart Series events, along with regional and local programs from their home base in Texas. Crosslink Competition is a full retail shop for the Esprit chassis and OTK kart parts. Many new and used packages are available right now through their Dallas headquarters. For drivers interested in making the jump from karting to cars, Crosslink provides a streamlined opportunity for you. Team Crosslink and Kiwi Motorsports is a championship-winning operation in the F4 United States Championship program, providing the perfect transition within the same. Drivers looking to compete with the elite level karting program or pick up gently used team equipment are asked to call 214-432-4413. Be sure to follow them on all social media platforms at Team Crosslink. Acceleration Kart Racing is your first and only stop on the internet for karts, parts, and the safety gear you need to get you on the track. Visit shopakr.com for a great selection of karting equipment on a user-friendly website. Acceleration Kart Racing has aligned itself with many of the top manufacturers and distributors in the sport to ensure all the latest equipment is available to you, the racer. With over 20 years in business and customer support available 6 days a week, you can be confident about getting the right parts at the right price when you need them. Be sure to visit shopakr.com today or stop by their headquarters in Las Vegas. Make sure to follow Acceleration Kart Racing on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for the latest specials and new arrivals. Welcome back to episode number 28 of our EKN OutLap, our preview podcast, all part of the EKN Trackside Live Tour presented by Cooper Tires. My name is Rob Howden, joined by David Cole. Thank you so much for tuning into either the broadcast on the EKN Radio Network. That's the first place that we debut our content, or if you downloaded it to your favorite podcast platform, thank you for doing that. We really appreciate it. David, X30 Jr., 32 Prix entries. We got a couple of cool names making some debuts with different teams now, which is interesting. Winners on the season: Jeremy Fletcher, Paul Bocuse, Aiden Ingrata, Caleb Gaffera, and Carson Morgan with a couple of victories. Ingrata, though, coming in with a 30-point lead over Jeremy Fletcher. And what I like is the fact that the whole top five all separated by only 169 points.
Really, the top six under 174, we add in Justin Ataconis. So
nice. Okay.
Ingrata, Fletcher, Christian Miles, Max Garcia, Roan Gill, and Justin Ataconis, all within 174 points of each other. So that's going to make the championship kind of unknown going into the weekend. And then again, we won't really know until we get Saturday's round 7 completed to really pinpoint who's going to be in the hunt for the championship chase. But yeah, you said a number of different winners on the weekend or on the year, with Carson Morgan being the only driver to double up. He did that at the Road America weekend. Morgan's the only driver not returning in the winner list, as we've kind of chronicled that he is going to move up to the senior ranks for the Super Nationals. So not going to be at USBKS this weekend, but all the other four winners going to be there, including Caleb Gaffar, who is actually making a move to the Rolliston Performance Group.
Yeah, I saw that news last week that he was parting ways with PSL Karting and Burrell Arc, going to move over to the Cosmic with the Rolliston Performance Group. Gaffera, of course, a local guy out of North Carolina with significant track time at GoPro. Pretty big move for him. David, any other names in here you think that stand out as well? That we may watch for, maybe those guys that haven't won yet or aren't maybe in the top 5 or 6 in the points?
Well, again, the former winners, Fletcher, leading the way. That's going to be, Fletcher and Ingrata. Those are going to kind of be the key points. But Miles and Garcia certainly looking for their first victory. So and Gill as well too, and Ataconis. So that's kind of going to be the highlight. There's a number of different other drivers that could be in the hunt. We'll see if Cameron Brinkman can kind of pick up the pace a little bit. Yeah.
I'm thinking Danny Dzelski potentially with Ryan Perry Motorsports. I was
just going to say,
Ryan's had a good
local knowledge.
Yeah, Ryan's had a good year too, man. He's put a solid team together there for RPM. Sebastian Weldon, I think, Sebastian, he's been so good over the season. I think you look at Sebastian potentially being top 5, top 10 as well throughout the weekend. Yeah,
Logan Toke, again, another driver that's got a lot of experience, both international and here in the U.S. I think this racetrack kind of tends to his capabilities a little bit more than some of the others we've been to at USPKS. Cooper Leclerc, we'll see if he is another driver that can kind of pick up the pace and be among those in the front run and the front pack, along with Jorge Ortiz, name that we've seen in the 100cc category be up front. So we'll see if he's doing that in X30 Junior this weekend. This X30 Junior category, man, there's just a number of different drivers that could step up and be quick.
That's it.
And that's kind of the thing. It's like some days are good, some days are bad. So we'll see kind of who steps up and has a good day right away with round 7 on Saturday. Just like we saw in X30 Pro and KA100 Senior, Connor Zilich, we know coming in second in points in one class and leading the next class, leading the KA. Same goes for Jeremy Fletcher. He's 30 points back of Aiden Ingrata. We know that there's a pretty tight little championship battle in junior with Christian Miles just that 73 points back. Fletcher with
with a little more wiggle room, I think, in KA100 Junior. He's got a 99-point lead over Parker DeLong. Chase Hand, 105 back. I mentioned how good Sebastian Weldon's been this year. He's 185 back. Elio Mesa, 331 back. So really down to maybe 4 drivers in KA100 Junior, David. But 42 pre-entries. Fletcher with a couple of wins. Morgan with a couple of wins. As you said, Carson will not be at Newcastle. They're at GoPro. Weldon and Ham, the other victories coming in here. And crazy thing is, and I know that you brought this to me before, Parker DeLong. He's not going to be here this weekend? Is he running over in Europe instead?
He will be at South Garda. He will be racing at the Rock Super Final. Wow. Again, we've been kind of monitoring this because we had the entry list for the event there at South Garda Karting in Italy. He was on the list, and we wanted to wait to confirm, and we did. We got a couple photos and also the entry list of him not being on the entry list for this weekend at USPKS. So that kind of opens up the door a little bit more for Fletcher, as now the championship lead is 105 points over Chase Hand. Yeah, with the long sitting out and racing over in Europe.
Let's have a look. I gave you the championship a little bit. A couple of the local drivers, obviously, to watch for: Danny Dzelski, Adam Brickley. David, we've already talked about local knowledge, right? So there's a couple of guys you think be running in top 10, potentially top 5?
Those names for sure. They should be among those in the top 10, top 15. Again, we have 42 drivers, so just in the upper half alone, you're going to see a number of fast drivers there. Spencer Conrad, another driver who's got a lot of laps at GoPro Motorplex. So those are 3 names with local. Miles Murray, another driver with a lot of local knowledge as well too. Club races there every month. So those are names you could see. Other names you might be able to see: Austin Jers, he's coming off some big victories at the Route 66 Sprint Series, winning both in Briggs and KA100 Junior. Wrapped up that class championship with 2 victories at the Wolf Paving Raceway and for Badger Kart Club, home of the Badger Kart Club. So again,
I throw an Aiden Rudolph in there. Aiden coming off a big win,
another driver,
right, in the Texas Sprint Racing Series. So running with crosslink competition, I think Aiden could be quick to watch for him potentially. You scroll down the line and see a couple of other guys, maybe like a Graham Trammell as well. I think Graham's had a couple of good outings recently, running for Rawlson Performance Group. We'll see if Graham can step things up this weekend.
Well, you already mentioned Helio Meza, and also, Elio. Also his teammate, Iron Rock teammate, Cooper Shipman. Yeah. Those drivers have been quick in this KA100 Junior category. So, could this be the weekend that they get breakout victories? Like we saw with Sebastian Weldon and Chase Hand. Maybe this is going to be their weekend. GoPro Motorplex, anything can happen. That's the great thing about this racetrack.
So true.
You could be leading going into the hairpin and then to end up being 8th by the time you get to the start finish.
That's it. So. That's one of the things I love about the layout, right? There are so many risk reward opportunities to pass where if you don't get it done and everybody's there, you end up going back to 5th or 6th. That's one of the things I love about the flow of that racetrack for sure.
Yeah, so there'll be a number of different drivers, and especially with the KA100 package, it tends to pack racing. So if some drivers are able to work together, it might be able to break away. Maybe a Jeremy Fletcher might want to get away from all the chaos that's happening behind him, or a Chase Hand, and just work with 1 or 2 drivers to kind of get away. But any type of racing allows the pack to come back, and it's almost like watching a cycling race. Mm-hmm. The peloton comes up and catches you.
That's it, right?
Boom, and then boom, you got 80 drivers going, or 80 riders going for the stage win. Yeah, that breakaway guy never really leads the peloton, does he? He ends up getting swallowed up and get pushed in the back. That happens. Big. It definitely happens. So there's your preview of both the X30 Junior and KA100 categories. 32 pre-entries in X30, 42 in KA100 Junior. Let's cap off this segment here now with X30 Masters. This has kind of been the place that Masters have selected to race this year. 17 pre-entries in total. Last year's champion, Scott Kopp, leading the points by 21 markers over Mario Barrios, former champions as well, David Galawina. I always say his name wrong, right? Galania. No, I say Galawina. It's Galania. Galonia. I got to say it correctly. Laurent Mardan. I can say that one. Laurent Technokart driver. He actually won't be there this weekend. David, points otherwise. You look at the guys on the points.
race winners, Kart, Barrios, Danny Robertson, Scott Roberts, Miguel Mir. This is, to a certain extent, part of the cream of the crop of Masters racing in America right now.
It is. It certainly has been all season long. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different drivers win on the 6 different rounds that we've had. The only double winner, Renato Yader David, not going to be at GoPro. He's actually racing at Rock Cup Super Final. So he won't be able to be there to add to his 2 victories. But, Barrios has the opportunity to add to it along with Scott Kopp, as they're the 2 drivers coming in as the championship leaders, with Kopp holding that 21-point advantage. Essentially, it's their championships to either win or lose. Danny Robertson, 176 points back, so he needs to get a victory for sure to be able to contend for the championship and be in the mix. Scott Roberts, a winner on the season, as you said, 189 points back in 4th. There's no reason he couldn't win both races this weekend and put himself right back into the championship hunt.
So true. Yep.
Again, 260 points is your maximum that you can get per round, and add in the entry total as well per day. So a lot of points up for grabs. Miguel Mir coming off his first USPKS victory, sitting 5th, 292 points back, pretty much out of the championship title, but could move up, even up to 3rd in the championship with a good weekend at GoPro on the crosslink competition entry. So, a lot of different scenarios that could happen throughout the weekend, even though, yes, it might be only 17 drivers, but a lot of different things could happen.
2 names that we didn't mention that I'll just throw out there as well, just because we've watched them for many, many years and they can run up front. I would say John Robichaux running with Rawlson Performance Group this weekend, and Christian Vomir on the Technokart USA. I know Vomir, a former USPKS champion a number of years ago. So both those drivers, I think they'll probably get some PA time with Tim Coyne, because both those drivers can get around that racetrack.
Yeah, they're certainly podium contenders throughout the weekend for sure. Again, those 5 championship drivers, you had those 2 drivers and a couple others as well. We're, Alex Mueller, Mooresville local. He's been quick at other racetracks, but he's super quick at GoPro. That's I think his performance here last year in the category helped propel him to follow the entire series in 2021. So he could be a spoiler in the championship to be able to pull off a couple of victories, or at least a couple of podium positions on the weekend.
All right, one more break in the action here, folks. When we get back, we'll wrap up this edition of the OutLap Preview Podcast with Mini Swift and Micro Swift as we cap off our initial coverage of the EKN Trackside Live Tour as we head to GoPro Motorplex for the final round of the USPKS Series. Again, we get back, we'll cap off the preview. Mini and Micro up next. In karting, it's important to be supported by the right people. With over 40 years of experience in the sport, Trinity Karting Group has everything you need to make your program successful. We do it all, and we do it right. Trackside support and Arrive and Drive programs are available in 2021 for the USPKS and the SuperKarts USA Pro Tour and Super Nationals, with full product sales and service and professional coaching from our experienced staff. Trinity Karting Group is a full-service operation based at the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati, which gives us access to our custom-designed driver training facility. This allows us to offer private, one-on-one coaching to take you to the next level. Trinity Karting Group is also your Midwest home for Tony Kart and IAME, and we're your source for MG and Evinco tires in the region. Tony Kart quality cannot be beat, so call us today to put you in a new chassis for your next event. From Arrive and Drive and coaching programs to the parts you need, let Trinity Karting Group provide you with customer service and a racing experience second to none. Trinity Karting Group has a long history in the sport, a winning pedigree, and we're dedicated to driver development. We take pride in our professional approach and our positive attitude. Let us build a custom race program for you. Give us a call at 513-421-4463 or check us out online at trinitykartinggroup.com. Are you ready to step up your game? If so, joining the Rawlson Performance Group is the obvious choice to take your racing to the next level. Industry-leading driver development is provided by our staff of multi-time national champions, Super Nationals winners, and Team USA members. And at the same time, RPG continues to be a national level powerhouse race team. Our goal is to help you raise your game and win races. We work with all age groups, and we're focused on developing cadet and junior drivers who are ready to take the next step in their racing program. Rawlson Performance Group has set a new standard with our in-house engine program, AVP Engines, headed by Alex Vincent. AVP has become the benchmark in both IAME and ROC competition. We also have the largest OTK inventory that follows our race team, providing trackside parts at all the major events in North America. RPG also offers multilingual support with French, Spanish, and Portuguese-speaking staff. If you want to fight for championships or want to improve your skills and your chances to win, the answer is to call RPG at 503-260-4514. The Rawlson Performance Group. We race to win. Welcome back to episode 28 of our EKN OutLap, our preview podcast, perfect for listening on the way to work, coming home. You may be in the shop working on the karts, or on your way to Mooresville, North Carolina, for this weekend's event at the GoPro Motorplex, the finale for the USPKS. I'm Rob Howden, joined by David Cole, who will be trackside throughout the weekend. David, 34 pre-entries for Mini Swift. Let's just start with the winners on the year. Enzo Vidmontien, Diego Ardiles, Kai Johnson, and a couple wins for Mateus Orjuela as well. 2 wins for Enzo, though, puts him in the championship lead right now, 350 points ahead of Kai Johnson. That's a massive lead. There are still 5 guys mathematically in the hunt, David. You're the king of the spreadsheet, so you know how it works. But Enzo Vidmontien looks like he's got this thing pretty much locked up.
Yeah, it's his to win or lose. Certainly, when you look at the numbers, again, mathematically, 260 points still available both rounds. And again, with 34 drivers in the field, you finish 34th both days for Vidmontien. It's a bad weekend and still opens up the opportunity for one of the other drivers to kind of step in and pull off the championship. So he's going to need a solid round 7 to kind of cement himself as the championship or provisional champion going into Sunday, and then kind of see how things work out. But as you said, two wins on the weekend or on the year. Really, it's been just consistency for him. He's been on the podium each and every round, so that's kind of helped him establish this 350-point advantage over Kai Johnson going into the weekend. Yeah,
Oliver Weldon sitting 3rd in points, Diego Ardiles in 4th, and Oscar Iliff in 5th. Other drivers, David, you maybe want to throw out here. Obviously, both Oscar and Jack Iliff. You think about a Kai Johnson, Vivek Canthan. You look at guys that you're always talking about in these races, right? And Asher Osteen, who has had a tremendous year as well. Carson Weinberg. There's just a lot of great drivers that are coming up through here in the mini ranks that we're going to see moving to junior over the next couple of years.
Yeah, Tyler Roberts getting back behind the wheel at USPKS, missed Road America for something that was going on, which is actually his I think his mother's home place. I think she's an Elkhart Lake native. Okay. So that's a unique, cool story, but they had to miss that round. Another name to watch. You mentioned Asher Osteen, Cash Perkins coming off a victory at Route 66. So we'll see if he can carry that momentum. Unique name in the field, Carter McMurray. We saw him at the Cup Karts North America Grand Nationals. This is going to be at his home racetrack, son of Jamie McMurray, racing aboard the Comp Kart. Really enjoy seeing the father-son duo working together at Cup Karts. So we'll see them at their home racetrack this weekend. You said Vivek Canthan, another driver that could stand out this weekend
for sure
as well too.
I think Sarah Bradley's had a pretty good season as well. Sarah, I don't want to say she's hit or miss, but there are times that she rolls in and she's super, super fast. Other times, just inside the top 10. But if Sarah rolls things up nicely, the Indiana driver could find herself potentially in the top 5, or at least battling in that lead group as well. Like you said, there's just a lot of great drivers that we've talked about throughout the season. This will be a fun way to cap off the schedule for USPKS. Again, some drivers are going to stay, David, for one more year in mini. Other drivers will go to junior. Always fun to see that graduation of which drivers get a chance next year to kind of come to the forefront.
Yeah, exactly. That we've seen that with Oscar Iliff. This is probably his last year in the mini category, so he's going to want to try and end it strong. He's done that pretty well at the Texas Sprint Racing Series program, and then again racing over in Europe as well too, along with his brother Jack. But I think Oscar really wants to cement his final couple of races in the cadet category with a strong performance.
Let's move to Micro Swift now. We, again, talking all about the drivers that move up. We know a couple of the big dogs from Micro Swift will move to Mini Swift next year, Mini going up to the junior category. 31 pre-entries in total in the Micro Swift class. Only 3 winners on the season so far. Isaac Malkit, Keelan Harvick, and Augustus Toniolo. Harvick comes in with a point lead, not a big point lead, just 4 markers. But David, based on your notes and what you've looked at in terms of entry list, Augustus Toniolo, not on the entry list right now.
No, we have asked Mike Rollison of Rollison Performance Group, and as of now, he is not racing. Still, Toniolo has been racing over in Europe, did some OK Junior racing at the WSK Open Series, both rounds there at South Garda and Adria. So, nothing is confirmed on him racing or not. So he could be a walk-up entry. Yeah. Still unknown if he is going to race or not.
That kind of blows things wide open, doesn't it? It's really a 2-driver battle here for the championship in Micro Swift between Toniolo and Keelan Harvick. Ethan Tovo in 3rd spot back, 240 markers back. Alessandro Truchot in 4th, 372 back in the Nash and Moon, 515 back. As we said, Toniolo not yet locked in, but still a lot of great drivers in this micro class. David, any of the ones you kind of want to bring up that could potentially be guys to battle with Harvick this weekend?
Lucas Palacio races at GoPro. We just won at the Summer Nationals, so he's got that momentum carrying over. Gianmatteo Rousseau has been quick all season long with Pathan Saradupan. He's another quick driver as well, so we'll see if any of those drivers are able to get their first victories at the USPKS program. Again, we already mentioned Ethan Tovo, Jackson Tovo, his brother, another great driver, quick driver as well. Ashton Woon, the Arizona driver, going to be, 5th in the championship, but has the opportunity to be among those in the front pack, along with Tristan Murphy, who's been doing really well out in California. The Tennessee native going coast to coast all season long. Really Jackson Gibson, another driver who's had a strong season, really progressed under the Rollison Performance Group tent, and then racing alongside Augustus. So we'll see if he's able to pull it off solo if Toniolo does not show up.
Speaking of the word solo, I like seeing Travis Pettit out there as well for Solo Kart USA. His dad, Adam, of course, one of the top drivers in the Masters category in their Solo Kart program. Another one I would throw out there, I think probably as well, would be Alessandro Truchot on the Paralympic USA entry. The guy out of Florida. I think Alessandro's always been pretty strong. Has had a good season so far. We see him a lot in the top 10, top 5. And potentially running for race wins. So I would put Truchot in there as well.
Yeah, I just think everything's going to be around Keelan Harvick. It's right. his home racetrack, coming in with 2 wins on the year. Just won the Cup Karts North America Grand Nationals. So, and yes, that's Briggs Racing, but it's racing against the mini drivers as well too, because it was a sportsman division. So racing at your home track, he's got probably thousands of laps already, because he's just behind the wheel a lot. Yeah. So I think it's everybody's going to kind of be pinpointing their focus on him and being able to try and to be there on the last lap, because we know Harvick loves to lead.
He does love to lead, doesn't he? He always goes to the front. And again, he'll be in the fight for sure. He's the benchmark for the weekend, no doubt about that. Good to see him up at the Cup Karts North America Grand Nationals. I know it's 4-cycle racing, and I love when drivers go back and forth. 4-cycle, so much about being able to maintain your momentum, maintain that speed. You don't have that, the bottom. You got to stay on the clutch all the time. So Harvick's definitely going to come off of a big win there to try to continue to add to the resume here in 2021. But David, that caps things off. Harvick coming in with that championship lead. Toniolo potentially not running this weekend. So pretty much a walk in the park here for Harvick coming into the final round. Otherwise, it's time to go racing again, David. You've had a couple of weekends on the couch, got the grass cut, had some fun with the family, did a little racing at Newcastle yourself at the Cup Karts Grand Nationals, but back on a plane heading south. Time to cap off the USPKS series for 2021.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've been on a plane. They still do those?
Yeah, I think so. Unless you're Southwest.
Yeah. Ouch. Yeah. So excited to get back trackside. We'll be broadcasting live all weekend long. ekartingnews.com/live. So you can listen to Tim Coyne call the action all weekend long from qualifying to the last main events. And follow us on social media. We'll be doing the hashtags at EKN at USPKS along with Carolina GP. So, it's going to be an awesome weekend. Again, wrapping up the championships, that's one of my favorite things to do. And again, we know who's in the hunt, but again, you have all the different wild cards, especially with the large fields that we're going to have this weekend.
We should put one more hashtag in. Hashtag Dave's spreadsheet. Because
that could get dirty.
That's very true. But that'll get broken out big time, folks. So those of you know, we're trackside. When I'm announcing races with David, I'm sure Tim working with him as well. David's got the full spreadsheet set up there. Able to leverage his math degree with an awesome spreadsheet, because we know everything that's happening as they're on the racetrack. That spreadsheet set up so perfectly, and always good to have David. We're coming in. We're always updating as the guys run on the racetrack. It's I don't know that as many championships are going to be as tight as they have been in the past. They seem to be a little more weighted in one driver's direction. So not sure whether or not it's going to be as close, but I'm sure you'll have the spreadsheet fired up and ready to go.
Again, 2 rounds of racing, a lot of points up for grabs. You never quite know what's going to happen, especially with, again, how large the fields are going to be.
That's it. Like, a DNF, if you break in the main or throw a chain, you're not 20th, you're not 25th, you could be 40th. Right.
Again, even pre-finals, they
a lot of points.
They only do points. They only do points down to 20th. So a DNF there, you're losing points, plus you're losing real estate.
Well, folks, we're wrapped up here for this edition of the EKN OutLap. Thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate the backing as well from our title sponsor here this weekend, the presenting sponsor of the Alan Rudolph Racing Academy. And again, our coverage coming this weekend from the USPKS finale from GoPro Motorplex in Mooresville, North Carolina. David Cole will be there trackside. Big thank you to everybody who's tuned in today. It's going to be some great racing. Have fun in North Carolina, and make sure to tune in to the EKN Radio Network. On behalf of David Cole, my name is Rob Howden. Bye for now.